Good afternoon. Welcome back to Alberta, Calgary. 2016 Men's Roller Derby World Cup. We are ready, lined up to go for England versus Canada. My name is Fen Will I Be Famous. I'm here with the Derby Nerd, Devil's Reject on the production.
And we're going to send it now down to the track for our national anthems. One more anthem.
Canada.
And thank you very much. Saw some great views of the national teams for England and Canada there during those anthems. Once again, I'm the Derby Nerd here with Sven Will Be Famous. And this is the all-important semi-final showdown between two countries who are really global leaders in the flat track game.
Indeed, and big shout out to all those back in the UK. We know it's midnight, but thank you for staying with us. I know that the UK is passionate for Derby, and there will be many a viewing party right now. We'll be introducing you to the teams as we get into the game, but it looks like we're getting set up for the first jam with Elton on for Canada. Canada in the black, playing against, jamming against Reaper in the white for England.
And these two countries managed to avoid each other in the 2014 Men's Roller Derby World Cup, although I think the fans would have loved to have seen the showdown. So a couple years too late, but it's finally happening now. Canada and England in the semifinals. We've seen the women's teams at the national level have some epic battles, and I expect the same here. Opening jam of the 2016 Men's Roller Derby World Cup semifinal now underway.
Reaper first in, trying to jump around the rev. Just trying to also make his way through. Elton On being held up at the moment behind Tomahawk. Reaper is through for lead for England.
And a nice start defensively here for England. Elton On does have the star off, and in his hand he stashed it, and he's made his way through, and a big jump from Reaper over turn 2. And all 4 points on the board for England. First blood goes to England, 4-0 now.
First jam, and Reaper is already collecting air miles with his trademark apex jumps.
Very impressed with this English jammer rotation this weekend. They're producing some incredibly strong skaters.
And we're going to have Alien Al now. Alien Al unable to skate in the first 2 days of the tournament due to a slight niggling injury that he had. But he's played this morning against Finland and seems to be in fine form.
And Bradass jamming for Team Canada. Of course, part of that now famous father-son duo on the national squad.
Bradass was key in the match against France this morning. Even when he was on 5 penalties, he was still jamming hard. Alien Al picks up the cut track, so Bradass is through now for lead for Canada.
And the first Roller Derby Athletics Power Jam of this game goes to the home team, the host nation here. And Bradass on the track with a full contingent of blockers to work this Power Jam. A big scrappy mess at turn number 2. England also with the full squad to defend it.
Giggity and Kirkham just trying to stop Bradass getting through.
5 points now on the board, our first lead change here in the very early goings. And now Canada trying to work some offense, freeing up some room for Bradass. Biganek with that offensive move.
Strong cube formation at the front. Alien Al now back to track, trying to roll his way around Tank and Walker. Looks like Tank picks up the out of play block.
Bradass was also recycled back to turn number 2, forced to reset, now taking another go at that pack, knowing he has some time to work with, but not too much. And scoring now for England is, Alien Al in a track cut penalty. The Roller Derby Athletics Power Jam shifts to England's favor. Alien Al already back around the track and looking to pick up some more points. It was a bit of a risky move by Bradass to keep that jam going. That risk did not pay off as he picked up that track cutting penalty.
Walker did a great job recycling Alien Al, but was hanging out and was playing up to the crowds on turn 3 without realizing that he'd been called out of play, so was given the failure to return.
Yes, Canada's going to have to keep their emotions in check. It is a packed track here at the Calgary, or the Acadia Recreation Complex in Calgary. Hometown crowd definitely in favor of Canada, so Canada's going to have to keep their focus squarely on the track.
Blitzkrieg now for England on the Roller Derby Athletics power start. Made that look easy when he got through the pack. Picks up lead straight away. We're seeing Bradass standing now, so he's going to be released. And right now, comes back to track as Blitzkrieg starts his first scoring pass with only 3 Canadian blockers. Picks up the first 5.
Zimmer and Sleeper Cell were the last lines of defense there, could not hold him back. Bradass now tries to come through on the outside, finally finds a lane and gets through. Initial pass complete. Blitzkrieg, hands above hips, waiting for just the right moment to call it off, trying to kill off some penalty time, it looked like. So now, they're waiting for the final moment to call that off.
Number 21 for England, Toots, came off the track, going to the penalty box. Now he's got one hand over his right eye.
He is still favoring it in the box. We will try and keep abreast of what is happening there. Medics have not gone over yet to the box, so looks like he's going to be all right. Roller Derby Elite, the brand that defines the sport. Red now, the jammer for Team Canada. And he is up against Sully for England. And Sully through in the inside of turn 1. A lead jammer for England. Red also through, but he's got about a full track to make up. Sully sweeping to the outside, looking for a wide turn. Got 1 point out of that effort. And just as Red was approaching, he called it off just in the nick of time.
Yeah, looks like he lost his footing going into turn 2. Realized that Red was coming around with a scoring pass, and it was a perfect tactical call-off to shut out Canada once more.
Fleet-footed Reaper now back on the line for England. Flustercluck for Canada. 4 on 4 in the pack. Canada with the defensive posture right up at the Nerd Roller Skates start line. So Flustercluck is going to have an opportunity to try and work through an advanced pack, but it's going to be Reaper coming through on the inside as another lead jammer status picked up for England, their 4th out of the 5 jams we've seen so far this game.
Matt Lovin picked up the multiplayer block in that initial. If you saw right at the start, Tichborne was inside the England cube formation, just tried to break it up as Flustercluck got there.
Nice defense from Zimmer, knocking the English jammer to the outside. 1 point, though, was picked up. 14 points now the difference very quickly. We've eaten 6.5 minutes off the clock in this Men's Roller Derby World Cup semi-final showdown.
Just a shout out to Bruised Skate Noose, the original old over-the-shoulder roller skate holder. You spend a lot of money on those skates. Don't shove them in a bag full of sweaty gear. Your skates hate that. Keep your skates aired out and show them off with Bruised Skate Noose. Find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or online at bruisedsn.com.
El Tenant, your jammer for Team Canada, up against Alien Al once again for England. And these starts have been going in England's favor early on here in this game. El Tenant almost goaded into a penalty there, but was able to stay off the track. Giggity with some nice work, the English pivot. Finally, some offensive help from Johnson. Clears Giggity off the jammer, and El Tenant is through. Lead jammer status for Canada. Finally, we're seeing some stronger Canadian defense here, but powering through it. Some nice, strong jamming from Alien Al, and El Tenant through for 4. Canada back on the scoreboard now within 10.
I wonder if you can tell exactly who the home team support is here when those 4 points went up for Canada.
And the roar of the crowd as it is filling up, perhaps even more packed than it was this morning for the quarterfinal showdown against France. And it was pretty tight here at track number 1 then as well. Bradass on the line, and he will be squaring off against Blitzkrieg once again. Bradass on the inside, Blitzkrieg going right through the middle. Now Bradass resets. Rev up, trying to work some offense for Team Canada. Blitzkrieg all alone at the back of the pack, working against a trio of Canadian blockers. It is a multiplayer block penalty to English blocker Tom Banks, who's heading to the penalty box. Pack advantage now for Canada.
And a high block is going to see Blitzkrieg go to the box, giving Canada a roller derby athletics power jam. Bradass just rolls off the shoulder of Sutton Impact.
And Tichborne heading to the penalty box, so the penalty box starting to fill up as both of these packs are depleted. And Bradass now has 2 defenders to work against. Goes low on the outside, stays in bounds, get through for the Grand Slam. Canada narrowing the gap now, 5 points is the difference.
Tom Banks comes back to track, giving England a slight advantage with the blockers, but Bradass is able to duck underneath Shroom.
Same move again. Sleeper Cell and the Rev, the only 2 blockers on the track for Team Canada. Montreal, Toronto skaters, respectively.
Looks like we've got Zimmer back now as well, helping, and a star pass to Shrooms.
So Shrooms could stop the bleeding here as Canada has tied it and now has pulled ahead. Another lead change here. Many here in the opening 10 minutes of this semifinal matchup. Big hit from Tichborne. Sends Shrooms to the outside. And a back block being called on Sleeper Cell will send him to the penalty box. Bradass, though, continuing a strong jam here for Team Canada.
Now, we saw Canada do this morning where they had the advantage of lead, but just kept the jam running with the momentum.
Coach Lime will do that. He'll play his feelings. If he feels that Canada has an opportunity to make something happen, they won't mind giving up a couple points, and a huge 21 point jam, 21-4 for Canada. And they have retaken the lead now, 35-28, just over 10 minutes in. Men's Roller Derby World Cup would like to acknowledge the contribution of Alberta Sports Connection, which helps to make this event possible. Big thanks to Alberta Sports Connection.
And we're going to go back to Sully for England, jam against red for Canada. Diminished pack, but a pack that diminished blocking lineup, I should say, for England, but that is Spectral and Giggity.
So if you're going to have two on the track, those are the two you might want, and excellent work there. Freeze there, jammer lead status for Sully. Red, though, also through. Red had the quarterfinal off this morning, so he's got fresh legs on that Canadian jammer rotation. Nice hit from Tank will force the call off just as Red was approaching.
4 go up for England, so we are back to a 3-point game.
Sven, I have a feeling we're both going to get ulcers at the end of this game.
I don't believe I'm going to have a voice left, but let's look at this replay here.
And that's just that low work from Bradas getting under that booty block. Just great skating, great timing too on that.
Flustercluck in the black for Canada against Reaper for England. Flustercluck just being pushed to the inside by Tom Banks and recycled by Matt Lovin, while it's Reaper out with lead. Sudden Impact now standing in the way of Flustercluck.
Flustercluck goes hard up against Zimmer. Now working against the pivot. Stand aside.
Looks like we've got Zimmer and Sudden Impact going to the penalty box. One of those was a forearm, I can tell you that, but they both happen in quick succession.
England now has retaken the lead with the first 4-point pass, and another 5-pointer on the board will increase that to a 6-point lead now.
Walker just trying to muscle Matt Lovin off the track, trying to open up some space for Flustercluck.
And a track cut being called on Flustercluck. Roller Derby Athletics Power Jam now for Reaper and Team England. Elbow, though, being called on the English blocker. Matt Levin heading back to the penalty box, and an easy, smooth pass will give another 5 to the English side. 46-35 now. Back and forth we go.
And the penalty time on Sudden Impact expired just on the whistles, so he left the box for being replaced by Matt Lovin.
Power start here for Alien Owl. 3 blockers for England against the 4 on the defense for Canada. And Roller Derby Athletics power start. England back in control.
Tight up on the pivot line. A lot of jostling for position. Alien Owl helped out by a good block there from Giggity, just knocking Svensson off the line. And a forearms penalty, that is on Tank.
Yep. So Tank heading to the penalty box. Now only 3 on the track. Svensson and Beganek. Last line of defense, pushing through turn number 4. Alien Owl spinning, putting back 2, gets knocked to the outside. Beganek going to get the back block call on that one. So Svensson, last line of defense. And he is out of play, forced to let him go, and getting the call for the multiplayer block.
Svensson was waved away from it at full sin bin there, but just as Tank stood. So I would imagine as soon as he gets back around the pack, we'll see him waved back in as a cued blocker.
Flustercluck still having a hard time with this English pack, being dragged way back now to the back stretch, and an easy pass again for Alien Owl. Forearm penalty being called on Johnson. Another Canadian blocker heading to the penalty box. England now opening up their biggest lead of this game. Gap has been extended to 20, will now go to 25. So England on quite a run here. And they're going to keep this going as Flustercluck having a hard time getting through this English pack, and England blowing this game wide open as we near the midway point. Tank finally able to get a spot in the penalty box. And during that transition, Canada a little bit discombobulated on the defense. And a track cut being called just at the end of that jam. And it does seem as if there's been a little bit of confusion or just some miscommunication between outside and inside refs. We have got calls contradicting each other and a lot of discussion going on.
We've also got Beganek picked up the late hit call for that hit on Giggity. We've also had Phoenix in Flames from the UK wants me to keep saying Flustercluck repeatedly. I have no idea why.
It is a nice sounding word, and no surprise here that we have a team timeout to Canada. So we're going to take a break to talk to with some of our sponsors.
We're going to be testing 3 helmets today. This simulates a 10-mile-an-hour impact or a 4-foot drop. The S1 Lifer helmet with EPS Fusion foam did pass the multiple impact test.
All right, welcome back. We had to take a little bit of a breather there as we've just passed the midway point of this half, and it has been a heck of a game. But England opening up the biggest lead so far of this contest. Canada scoreless now in 4 straight jams. And that was quite an explosive 22-point jam that we just saw England put on the board to open up this pretty big lead.
Yeah, that was an impressive display of defensive blocking by England. Just held Flustercluck back. He couldn't get through for his initial pass.
Who was that jammer, sorry?
Flustercluck.
Okay, thanks.
And they were happy just to keep running that clock while those points were racking up. And they're going to be back with a pack advantage again as we get back now. We saw Beganek at the end of the jam go to join. I can't see who it is sitting in the box at the moment with him. It looks like Tank is sitting in the box. So when Beganek and Tank come back to track, however, that's 2 big Canadian blockers who we've seen, especially with Tank, has been a star all the way through this tournament for Canada.
Yeah. And Beganek was on the 2014 national team for Canada. Took some time off from Derby, but decided he wasn't done with his national team service, and so he returned to the sport just in time to try out and make the team. Reaper on the Nerd Roller Skates start line, sitting on a 100% lead percentage so far in the early goings here against El Tenant. And as you mentioned, it's a 4-2 pack advantage for England. So Team Canada heading right back to the jam line and having a stare down with Reaper. Stand aside, going face to face with number 666. You can't quite see it, but I would be terrified.
The whistle has gone. They are moving, just sounding each other out. Elton on with the jammer recycle, so we're probably going to see the 360 drawback.
And I saw him actually look directly at the penalty box, so this wasn't necessarily a jammer drawback as much as it was a penalty killing time, or penalty time killer.
So they're now both back on their initial pass.
Yep. And he has emptied the penalty box, so smart heads-up play. Unfortunately, though, Reaper, who has been eating up these lead jammer statuses, gets another one to keep his perfect streak going. Elton on through in his initial pass. Defense getting set now for Canada. England blockers, though, swarming on the offense. Not quite paying attention to Elton on. Tried to sneak through for points. Didn't quite get it, but forced the call off. Only 2 on the board for England.
You could see Reaper there just before he made the decision to call it. He held his hands by his hips. Jam ref was ready. He realized he had another couple of seconds to snuck those couple of points out of the pack before getting the call off. That is the kind of experience play we see from Reaper over and over again. Whether it be in the white and red for England or whether it be with his home league, Sudden Discomfort playing in the MRDA champs.
And Elton on with some smart play too, so really, really smart play from both of those experienced jammers. And now we are back underway, and it's Sully, I believe, jamming for England. He is your lead jammer. Brad Ass about a half a track to make up. Sully, though, finds a widespread pack spinning around turn 2, calls it off, and does pick up all 4 points. So the Canada pack's getting a little spread out here midway through this period, and it looks like we're going to have a late track cut call on a Canadian blocker. It's another one for Tank.
Yep, another one for Tank. Again, we saw a lot of the Canadian blockers rack up some major penalties some major penalty trouble in the game against France this morning. Lots of 5s and 6s. We had a couple of foul outs, I believe, right by the end of the game.
Yeah, so we will have to monitor that as this goes on, but England is continuing to roll here. Another lead jammer status picked up.
Blitzkrieg this time with the honors.
And Red now working against 2. And they're recycling him nicely back onto the first stretch as Blitzkrieg comes through and just powers through the wall for the Grand Slam.
That was Matt Lovin with the recycle.
Pack now stationary at turn 2. Canada, though, set, bracing. Nice simple offense from England, just splitting them up just enough to create a lane and create some one-on-one situations, but a nice last-minute exit hit did send Blitzkrieg out, forcing him to reset, and that allowed enough room and time for Red to get through, and Blitzkrieg decides he's had enough and calls that off.
But it's another shutout for England, holding Canada at no points. So we see here, that was the move from Matt Lovin to knock Red to the outside, took him all the way back to 20 and held it until the outer play was called, just gaining those extra few seconds.
And England now has opened up a 49-point gap with 11 minutes to go here in the first half.
Flustercluck for Canada against Alienal. Alienal sneaks around the back of Kirkham, his own blocker, but straight into a brace 3. Now into the back of Walker and Johnson, being braced by Svensson. In fact, we've got to see it almost like a test of strength here as both jammers just trying to push their way through these brace 3s.
Finally, though, Canada, some defense. Oh, I was going to say getting their jammer through, but a track cut to Flustercluck will allow England to pick up another lead jammer status and continue their run. Canada hasn't put a point on the board in 7 consecutive jams now through about the past 10 minutes or so. So Canada really going to have to regroup here and reset and try and figure out what's going wrong. But England in control of things with 10 minutes to go here in the first period. Alienal moving to the outside. A nice, simple little sweep from Sutton Impact. Clears Johnson.
That was Walker that knocked him to the inside. Went to go back to recycle, but saw the wall of England, decided not to take him all the way back. Flustercluck back now to track, just squeezes between a gap in Sutton Impact and Giggity.
And now the packs converging through the first apex, a big collision. And England jammers a little slow to get up. Svensson sent to the penalty box on a high block. And once again, though, seeing Canada getting spread out, forced into these one-on-one battles. And I'm going to give that advantage to the jammer every single time. Alienal gassed, but he's put 5 more points on the board for his efforts.
Some great blocking there by Spectral, just taking Flustercluck back with him. Alienal being left here to go through the pack on his own as his blockers are just working on keeping Flustercluck busy.
A nice little touching moment there between Alienal and Walker at the end of that jam. Incredible sportsmanship all weekend here we have seen. And we've got an official review now being called, I believe by England, who have led the charge into the infield. Of course, we will get an update from head referee Righteous Oxide. Meanwhile, we can thank Quad Skate Shop for bringing this official review to you. And just another reminder that we are letting you choose one of our MVPs. This year's Quad Skate Shop Team of the Tournament will now include a Fan Favorite Award as chosen by you, the fans. And I have to say, we want to really thank you fans for being so good about this. We've got well over 1,000 and growing votes already. So make yourself heard. It is live today right now on Facebook. You can go to the MRD WC Facebook page to log your vote. And I think we have some early favorites too.
Yeah, there's some early favorites. We're not going to sway your judgment now, but there is some early favorites, some head runners in this. We're going to get the head referee now.
So Righteous Oxide there. We didn't quite hear what that was, but again, hopefully he will update us when they come to their decision. But yes, we're not going to tip our hats to who is in the lead, but let's just tell you we've got a few front runners. So if you're concerned that might not be your skater, make sure you get out there and vote for your favorite skater of this tournament. So a little bit of an update now, 98-35, 9 minutes to go. This is, if you're just tuning in, the first of two Men's Roller Derby World Cup semifinals, England, Canada. Coming up here on track 1 at 7 p.m., USA will take on Australia in the other. And the two winners, of course, will be playing here at the Nerd track tomorrow at 7 p.m. for the championship. One more time, Righteous Oxide. Let's see if we can get him here on the announcement.
Well, you couldn't hear that, but we could in-house.
Yeah.
And so it looked like Canada were trying to get the cut track call overturned, but the call on the track will stand.
And of course, that could be important as these teams racking up penalties in this game. So Canada loses their official review for the first half. Or, sorry, England. England was looking for.
Oh, England was looking for, yeah, they were looking for the cut track to be made.
Yes.
The no call was standing. And as we talk about cut tracks on Jammers, Reaper picks up the cut track. And El Tanon is through now. Lead jammer for Canada.
And this will be the first points in 8 jams for Team Canada. And El Tanon is through with all 5. So Canada finally getting back on the board. And this could be the spark that they need to get the engine going now. 3-3 in the packs. Power jam continuing.
El Tanon just goes straight into Giggity now. Gets some offensive support from the Rev and Svensson, but Spectral doing a great job taking him back. Spectral picking up the penalty and doing so.
What a great tournament Spectral is having, though, despite that penalty. He did slow up El Tanon and give his blockers enough time to reset as the power jam has come to a close and only 5 points scored for Canada.
So we're seeing Reaper now trying to make his way around Svensson and the Rev.
No pass, no penalty on that final skater. Another 5 points on the board for El Tanon. And they're going to keep this jam going. Again, the bench indicating that they want to keep this going, looking for a bit of a run here for Canada. Rev swing and a miss.
Stand
aside with a swing and a miss.
Doing a good job. Reaper managed to hold his feet, but saw stand aside coming up the track, so able to rejoin.
Reaper, such an agile skater, uses that whole track so well, and a nice simple little hop over the apex gets him through. So this time, and El Tanon takes a big hit and forced to call it off, but this time that Canadian risk did not necessarily pay off. They did come out on top, 14-8.
That big hit came from Sutton Impact, and what a hit it was.
We're taking a look now at the scoring pass for El Tanon. And the 5 points for Canada, getting the crowd back into this one. And now Bradass trying to do the same.
So going to be Bradass lining up against Sully as the whistle goes. England with the front wall, Canada with the back. Bradass now fighting up against the front of Kirkham and Reanimated Gift. Reanimated Gift tries to get one last hit in, but Bradass is through for lead. Sully out of the pack now, half a track behind as Bradass starts his first scoring pass. Giggity to beat, calls up the jam.
So 2 straight leads for Team Canada, and 2 straight scoring jams gets Canada back into this game. But nonetheless, they have a big hole that they are going to have to climb out of. Let's take another look here at Bradass and Canada's work on that jam. And here is Bradass just working alone and very, very slowly separating those blockers, creating those one-on-one situations, and able to get through for another lead jammer status for Canada. Red now on the Nerd Roller Skate start line, and he is up against Blitzkrieg.
And we've got the very static scrum start. Blitzkrieg just finds the toe stop gap to get through for lead on the inside.
One thing about these English jammers is they can walk those lines so finely. And we are seeing that all over this game. Tichborne with a nice exit hit. Slows things down at the very least, buying Red some more time to try and get through.
Red being held up there by the the duo from the Lincolnshire Rolling Thunder, Tom Banks and Toots.
Red with the star off his helmet, forced to reset at turn number 1, and a nice little move there. You saw at the top of your screen from Blitzkrieg getting by the Canadian defense. Under 5 to go now here in the first half.
So Red out now, but with his star stash, so that will go back in his helmet. Initial pass complete. Blitzkrieg just takes a look around from the infield, calls off the jam. The S1 Lifer helmet is the best fitting and safest helmet for roller derby. Get a Lifer, be a Lifer. S1helmets.com. As we see there, this replay, Blitzkrieg just forcing his way around the Rev. And that was stand aside.
Interesting stat here, Sven. Half of England's points, or just under half, 49 to be exact, have come from Alien Al, believe it or not, and he is out on that nerd roller skate start line right now.
And he's going up against Flustercluck. They're both tied up in the middle of the park right at the moment, trying to force their way through. Alien Al is working the back of Tank, and looks like Beganek. Walker with the recycle.
And Sutton having a nice battle with Tank there, forcing Tank to go back, but that allows Tank to reset with Walker and Beganek and hold Alien Al. But two great triangles of defense, keeping these jammers from even entering the apex between turns 1 and 2. And now finally Rev trying to work some offense, knocks Sudden Impact out, but that does not clear enough room, and a nice drag back once again from Spectral. Maybe Spectral should just change his derby name too, drag back. Flustercluck forced to reset, same with Alien Al. We are now 1 minute into this jam, and we are just now advancing beyond turn number 1. Great defense here from both of these clubs. Sutton Impact keeping both packs in play. Rev now with holding Spectral back, just trying to open up a little bit of room. Unfortunately, may have worked against him, as Flustercluck is forced to reset, and the pack continuing to move slowly. 90 seconds now into this jam. We are advancing upon turn number 3, but no lead jammer status has been earned.
And it was Alien Al that knocked Flustercluck off the track now. And we're going to take the ride around the track. Flustercluck's just going to stop there. We're probably going to get some breathing time from both jammers here.
Absolutely. I think they are both just exhausted. Wow, this is a rarity to see. Flustercluck and Alien Al with a little bit of a high five. They were just trying to get some air, like you said. Literally, I think they gave up on this jam.
I think they both had the standoff.
Brilliant defense. And both of those jammers just conceding that jam to their packs. Wonderful pack work from these two teams.
Yeah, I mean, we saw some great work there from Reanimated Gift for England, who, of course, was MVP blocker in 2014, a well-deserved title that he got there. And we saw that there when he was able to just keep shifting position, working with Spectral in a great little 2-wall, rolling around, knocking Flustercluck off the track.
Under 2 minutes to go now. El Tana on the line for Canada up against Reaper. 5-on-5 roller derby. Penalty box empty.
That's another one of these very static starts, almost a rugby scrum.
And again, these jammers finding no room through these packs. Unbelievable defense here over the final few jams of this opening half. This is some fine flat track roller derby. Finally, a penalty to a blocker may open up some room, but El Tana exited. Oh, and it looks like a forearm penalty, or a backblock penalty, excuse me, to the jammer will create a roller derby athletics power jam for Canada, and they have a 4-2 pack advantage.
And he's also going to go to sit down with Tutu picked up the forearms, and I believe his Shrooms have picked up the other forearms that you saw. So instantly a roller derby athletics power jam with the pack advantage. So El Tana going to pick up a lead for Canada, rolling into the last minute of regulation time of this period.
And briefly, there's only one jammer. It's Tom Banks all alone, and El Tana able to get by him on the first apex. Canada on a bit of a run here now. 5 points so far on this roller derby athletics power jam.
Toots is back to track for England to help Tom Banks.
And Reaper also now back on the track, so England's jammer is on. A good penalty kill, limiting the damage to just 2 scoring passes. A big pile-up is going to send Reaper back to the penalty box on a track cut. Back-to-back power jams now for Canada. A late push here in the first half.
Time on the period clock is out to only 15 seconds remaining of this power jam in this period.
And Tennant going to have to hustle to get around and get some more points. Time running down. Canada looking to add a few more before they head into the break. A nice sweep to the inside. Tennant trying to follow. Jam comes to its conclusion. 3 more points for Canada. And an official review being called by Coach Lime and the Canada bench as that half comes to its conclusion. Canada able to narrow the gap to 34 points, though, on a strong close to that half. Sven, what a great half of roller derby.
Indeed.
The Reaper picked up 3 penalties there, so that's something that we're going to have to watch as this goes on. He'd had such a strong start. But wow, England looked like they were going to run away with it. Canada stuck with it. And their hard work is paid off now in the late stages.
That has been a period of momentum shifts.
Absolutely.
England took that big early lead. Canada's kept powering through, didn't let the head drop every time they were getting shut out. And we've seen them bring that back now to 44, which in international derby like this, 44 points is no big score differential.
Yeah. We haven't seen many massive jams of the game, but even in a game that's been as tight defensively as this one, we have seen some 20-point jams. So you're right, 44 points, not a big gap. I'm interested to see, Coach Slime always seems to have something up his sleeve. Interested to see what he's called on this official review. And we're going to see if we can get an update before we lead you into halftime. So now we have an opportunity to thank another one of our sponsors here.
Well, why not? I mean, if you're enjoying what you're seeing here and you didn't want to come to Calgary and you want it to be in your neighborhood, why don't you host? Host the 2018... Oh, looks like we're going to get Righteous Oxide.
Looking for a call on the White Jammer. Didn't exactly hear what the call it is that they are looking for. Or perhaps an insubordination on White Jammer. Thanks to Devil's Reject, our producer here for that. So it was Reaper in the box. We'll assume that they're looking for an extra 30 on him. And interesting use of an official review.
Well, to be fair, it's a great tactical play because you're going to lose the official review anyway.
Exactly.
Why not try and get an extra 30 seconds of power jam starting the next period?
So again, we will stick with you here until we get a conclusion to this official review. We don't want to leave you hanging too long. And it's been such a fantastic game that we do have quite a bit to talk about. There was that run at one moment when Canada went 8 jams, smack dab in the middle from about the 20-minute mark to the 10-minute mark without a point. And it seemed almost like the game was almost lost for them. But their defense did keep them in it, and they kept that gap from getting too large. And that meant that their final few jams, that 17-pointer to close out the half, was able to narrow this gap to a pretty reasonable amount going into the final 30.
Well, in that period that you mentioned of those 8 jams, you could see England really, every time they got out and held the, kept the pack pace going quick, and it was the tactical call-off. They were letting the Canadian jammers sprint to catch the pack and calling it, trying to wear them down. It was the mental game as well as the physical game. Every time you're almost on the pack to start your score, if it gets called off, and you're always seeing that 0 go on the board. But Canada have held their nerve. It didn't seem to affect them, but again, I guess that's the level of derby that we're watching here. These kind of players have got the mental toughness that isn't going to affect them, that isn't going to break their spirit. And we've seen that now with this partial comeback.
Yeah, these are a very experienced lineup. All these skaters, it's not like some of the teams like Japan where they are just a national team. These guys are all club skaters. They all have club teams they skate for at MRDA or otherwise. So these are skaters with a ton of experience. And a lot of skaters on these rosters were part of the 2014 national teams as well. So they even have experience here at the international level. Righteous Oxide is giving his explanation to the coaches right now. It seems like Lime is not accepting it and continuing to argue. One thing to keep in mind, one interesting stat, 3 jammer penalties for Canada that half, 6 for England. So great penalty killing for England for that half.
We've seen so many teams in this tournament already just be defeated by their own penalties.
Yeah.
You know, it's not just the power jams.
No, it's, yeah. Pack penalties in the way that they deplete the packs, that wears on blockers. It is very hot here. I don't need to remind anyone in the northern and western hemisphere that we are in the middle of summer right now. And we are in the middle of the North American continent, quite near a desert here in Calgary. So it's getting pretty humid in this venue. Now, Righteous Oxide with the explanation of the call.
Righteous Oxide right now.
The insubordination request for a call, for an insubordination on the white jammer would not be upheld. Official review not upheld.
So there you have it.
Thank you very
All right, well, that's enough for us. We're going to take a little bit of a breather here, get some water. For Sven will be famous. I'm the Derby Nerd. We will be back with more semifinal action here at the 2016 Men's Roller Derby World Cup.
Hip, whip, don't trip, slap the pack. If you clock the flock, then I can jam the track. Quads on the floor, styles on the head. Roller to be locked, what the zebra said. Yeah, we rollin', yeah, we rapping for real. Can't feel the back wheels underneath my heels. Up through my spine, penetrating the heart. Calling off the jam till the next jam starts.
We really miss the feeling of spontaneously visiting a store and trying out the newest gear. A hangout for all roller skaters. Everyone has their own unique style. Because of our large assortment, we can now personalise roller skates while you wait, so you can try them out right away. Our mission is to fit you with the right gear, and don't forget to turn left.
Hey, this is Dan from S1 Helmets. We're in the testing lab today, testing helmets to see if they pass the Multiple Impact Certification Test. We're going to be testing 3 helmets today. A soft foam helmet with EVA foam and a terry cloth liner, the hockey helmet with triple density EVA foam, the S1 Lifer helmet with EPS Fusion foam. All 3 of these helmets are marketed as multiple impact helmets. We're going to test all of them today and see which ones actually pass the test. The multiple impact test is when we drop a helmet to achieve a velocity of 4.57 meters per second. This simulates a 10-mile-an-hour impact or a 4-foot drop. The same helmet is tested 3 times in the same location. The helmet must reduce the energy pulse to under 300 Gs each time. Anything over 300 Gs can result in a traumatic brain injury or a severe concussion. In summary, the soft foam helmet with EVA foam and the hockey helmet with triple density foam did not pass the multiple impact test. The S1 Lifer helmet with EPS Fusion foam did pass the multiple impact test.
Good evening, everyone. It's 5 to 6 here, Calgary time, which means it's going to be 5 to 1 in the morning if you're watching in the UK. But let's just say, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you're watching from around the world.
And even in Canada, if you're on the other side of the country, it's the afternoon right now.
Well, exactly. Canada is allowed. Couldn't you forget that coming from the UK? Back once again, I'm Sven Will I Be Famous. I'm here with the Derby Nerd. We've got Devil's Reject throwing us stats. What a first period. If you've just tuned in now, you need to find a way to go back in time, 55 minutes, and start watching from that first period again. We saw England take the lead, gather the momentum, and then Canada take that momentum back and bring us now where we're going to be starting period 2 with Reaper jamming for England, but he's going to be starting in the penalty box, giving Canada the Roller Derby Athletics Power Jam. And it looks like it's going to be Bradass is going to be starting on track for Canada, who has been one of the powerhouse jammers of Canada all through this weekend. So I think this is where Canada really need to keep on that momentum they had at the end of the first period, and really push England towards a tied game, and then past that, taking the lead if they can.
Yeah, absolutely. The first 10 minutes were neck and neck, lead changes galore, and then about a 10-minute stretch of just pure English dominance before Canada was able to get back in it. And it was pretty close for about 5, and then Canada on quite a roll in the last 5 minutes of that opening half. Now 44 points is the difference. The winner moves on to play for the 2016 Men's Roller Derby World Cup, and a little bit of a Pegasus, I believe, on the outside. Haven't seen one of those in a while, but Bradass unable to get fully through for lead jammer status, does so at turn 2, just as Reaper re-enters the track. First lead jammer status of the half going to Canada.
Reaper now just got to get his way past Tank. Stand aside, doing a good job of using Tank as a wrecking ball, just to knock Reaper off to the outside of turn 3. Bradass tries to go through the inside. Looks like he's taken Toots down, who's gone down holding his ankle.
Walker with a bit of a hit. We're going to go to a commercial. We will be back shortly.
We're going to be testing 3 helmets today. This simulates a 10-mile-an-hour impact or a 4-foot drop. The S1 Lifer helmet with EPS Fusion foam did pass the multiple impact test.
All right, so just a bit of an update. We do have a downed skater. EMTs are checking with it. We're taking a look there at the Canada bench. Does seem to be a bit of a significant one, so this could take a little bit of time. The second half here just underway. Canada had put 3 points on the board, so we are going to take some time to give our sponsors a little bit of love as we deal with this injury timeout. So you'll excuse us as we send this off to commercial.
S1.
S1.
S1. S1.
S1.
S1 is part of my uniform.
A clear path through the pack almost never exists. So we fight and make our own.
Just go to any game and you're like, oh, yeah, this is why I do this. I skate for the Linden Roller Girls, and S1 is part of my uniform.
A clear path through the pack almost never exists. So we fight and make our own.
Welcome back to the Nerd Track here at the Acadia Recreation Complex, 2016 Men's Roller Derby World Cup. And Toots has now been brought off to the sidelines. Perhaps not quite as serious as we initially thought. He was able to put just the tiniest little bit of weight on it, so we'll continue to monitor that in this half.
Yeah, he was rolled off semi under his own power, so he's now being attended to by our excellent EMTs here. We'll get back to the action. Elton on lining up for Canada against Sully. Looks like we've got an empty penalty box, so there's the announcer's curse put on that one for this next jam.
Yes, thanks for that, Sven. Righteous Oxide is checking in with the EMTs just to make sure that we will have, of course, we always have to have one EMT at least focused on the action on the track. I just want to make sure that we do have enough attention being paid to Toots, and we'll be able to get back underway here. So Canada scored 3 points on that opening jam to continue their run that they had ended the first half with, to get now within 41 points. Sven, as you just mentioned, it will be 5-on-5.
And we'll just give a quick shout out to Merry Chaos, Be Harder, Better, Faster, Stronger, with one-on-one coaching from Derbalife and Chaos Theory. New Derbalife Transformation Challenge starting on August 8th. Visit chaostheoryblog.com for more details. Chaos spelled K-H-A-O-S, theoryblog.com.
And we did have a little bit of an upset that it was update that it was neck and neck over on track 2 between Finland and France. Of course, that's going on right now. Our brackets are all starting to come together for Championship Sunday here at the Men's Roller Derby World Cup. We can tell you some of the exciting matchups that you are going to see. For 9th place, for example, tomorrow on track 1 here on the Nerd Track, you're going to see Scotland and Mexico showdown. That should be a fascinating game. Mexicans, I think, one of the real darlings of this tournament, came in with really no expectations, their first ever World Cup, and suddenly playing for a top 10 finish. So an impressive performance by them. I'm really interested actually in the 15th place game between Puerto Rico and Italy, 2 teams that have been playing with a ton of heart this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, Puerto Rico, a team where the first time in this competition, I don't think anyone really knew what to expect with them, but we've seen some great play from them, some great skaters, and a great future for South American Derby with Puerto Rico, Chile, and Argentina.
Absolutely. All right, finally, second half here back now underway. And it is Sully jamming for Team England, and it looks like he's going to pick up the first lead jammer status of the half for England. And it is El Tenant for Canada being held up at turn number 1. He does have the star now stashed and looking for a potential pass.
So Shane Aisbett doing a good job working with Spectral and Reanimated Gift just to keep El Tenant tied up.
And the Canada defense so focused on the pass that was eventually made to Stephen Johnson that they did allow that easy pass for Sully. And Sully now coming up, hits that pack, will pick up at least a few and calls it off. 1 more point on the board for England. So the first points of the half now for the English.
So we're just going to look at a replay here. So this is what I was just mentioning before. Reanimated Gift railroaded El Tenant into the path of Shane Aisbett, who then pushed him into the path of Spectral, and they just kept rolling him around, keeping him tied up, not letting him get any real movement through the pack without a white shirt in his path.
Yeah, great work, and they also keeping the pivot separated from him as well, so we could not make the pass. Red now jamming for Team Canada, and he is up against Giggity on this with the star for the first time of this game, I believe.
Yeah, I don't believe we've seen Giggity as a blocker a number of times, and he's been doing a fantastic job as a blocker. So now let's see what he can do with the star cover on. Shroom's doing a great job. Red with an impressive set of splits there, just to hold himself off track, avoid that cut.
Red is known for his excellent skating and his agility on the track. A big hit from Rev, clears up a little bit of space.
That was on Matt Lovin, who was already just been called on an elbows penalty. So that cheer you hear is Red 5 getting through on his initial pass.
Tichborne with a nice little exit and drag back. It allows Red to catch up to the England jammer and force a call off as Giggity was falling. Calls it off. 5 points had already been collected. And Tichborne, as you can see, arguing with the ref, looking for some points. And Tichborne heading back to the pack, and you're taking a look at a replay of Red getting through on his initial pass. On the jam line now, it's Blitzkrieg. Lime, though, does have the attention of the head referee in the center of the track, as you can see on your screen. Bradass jamming for Team Canada. And both jammers now working against the pack. And very quickly through is Blitzkrieg, lead jammer status for England.
Blitzkrieg taking that same path we've seen him take a few times on his toe stops at the inside line, where there doesn't appear to be a space. He makes one.
Yeah, both he and Reaper, just such tall, agile jammers. And as we've talked about all game, just able to ride those lines so beautifully. And it looks like it's going to be a misconduct call at the end of that jam on to Tank, I believe. Or is it Biganek?
No, it looks like it's Tank. Oh, no, actually looks like it's Bradass.
Oh, it's Bradass. It is the jammer heading to the penalty box. So a Roller Derby Athletics power jam now for Reaper and Team England. Canada does have the 4-3 pack advantage on the penalty kill. We saw a strong penalty kill early in the first half for Canada. Let's see if we can see that here early in the second as well.
Reaper just bounces off the Rev, manages to roll around him. Ducks underneath Tichborne to pick up lead for England. A lot of jostling in the pack now. Looks like they're trying to hold Tichborne in the goat.
Just keeping those Canadian defenders separated, and Reaper working that inside against stand aside, able to shrug him off and get through for another Grand Slam. Canada again trying to set their defense at turn number 3. England ready and waiting for the return of Bradass. They are now holding him steady at turn 3.
Good move from stand aside, just forces Reaper off to the inside, but Reaper is so quick on his skates that he can be back on track and moving in a different direction before you even know about it.
And Tichborne flying through the air, looking for a hit, did not connect it. Rev picking up a forearm penalty late in that jam, so that will drop Canada down to 3 blockers. El Tenant now coming to the Nerd Roller Skates line for Canada in the black with the red highlights, and it's Sully jamming for England in the white and the red highlights.
England have taken the momentum swing back again. Canada have only put those original 3 points on the board in this period.
It looks like an official timeout is being called. And just the Righteous Oxide, the head referee, just making sure our EMTs were in position and ready to go. And Toots is out of the EMT area. We haven't got an update on where he might be, but that is definitely a good sign.
It looks like he's actually sitting in the team bench. I can see him sitting beside Sutton Impact.
Okay.
So he's rejoined the team bench.
It remains to be seen whether he'll rejoin them on the track.
El Tenant lining up against Sully. England have a bit of distance between their 3, but Shane Aisbett is up providing offensive support for Sully. Works well as Sully's through. We get a quick star pass over the top to Tank. The Tank for Canada now with the star. Sully cuts through. Amazing footwork to take him past Walker.
Just beautiful skating, using the whole track inside out, keeping those Canadian blockers separated. And England just right now clicking, just seem to be one step ahead of the Canadian pack at all times, and they're just keeping that pack scrambled. And another clean pass for England, 5 more points. It's a 9-0 run right now for the skaters in white.
Shane Aisbett with the cut track call as Sully 360s round the outside of turn 4, through for the Grand Slam pass.
And these passes, are just way too easy for the English jammers. Canada going to have to refocus their defense a bit. Svensson now trying to lay down some big hits. Rev finally with the exit hit and the drawback, getting called on a forearm. He is back in the penalty box. Svensson also heading to the penalty box as well. So Canada now down to 2 on the track. Nice hit from El Tenant. Both jammers being dragged back now. Tank again attacking that England defense. Sully back on the track. Walker first line. Sees an outside lane. El Tenant tried to close it. Could not get there in time. Another clean pass for Sully and 5 more points for England.
El Tenant, the former jammer, now heading his way to our penalty box.
Rev back on the track as El Tenant enters it. Svensson also coming back on the track. Sully coming around for another scoring pass.
So far, 24 points on this jam. Looks like he's going to get another 5.
And Canada just looking all sorts of out of sorts on that jam. The pack just could not get it together. separated and scrambling, and England with a massive jam to go blow this game wide open. And a team timeout now being taken by Canada, and a very timely one at that.
So this is, we're going to see Sully ducking underneath here. Oh no, it's that jink that he made past Svensson to the inside.
Great skating. Now let's take a quick little break to visit with our sponsors. All right, welcome back. And that Sully 29-pointer that you just witnessed is the highest scoring jam of this game so far. Overall, England sitting on a 61% lead percentage, and Sully himself sitting on 83%. So an impressive team performance amidst all of these great individual performances for Team England.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really impressed with the footwork of a lot of the skaters, especially given, and I know a lot of you guys out home, a lot of you folks at home probably want to know what the flow is like here. It's a polished concrete, and I know at the start of the weekend, start of the tournament, a lot of skaters were having problems with, it was very slippy, and I think now the skaters have adjusted, and we're seeing them being able to make those very quick moves, changing their weight to get that, like we saw Sully there when he got past Svensson. We'll probably see Giggity do something similar now as he gets past stand aside.
And the humidity, I think, also is helping make this floor a little bit stickier, too, as this weekend goes on. Flustercluck is the jammer for Canada. He's had a bit of a rough go at it here against the English defense and having a tough time in this jam as well. Giggity held up by Sleeper Cell, forced out of bounds, now forced to reset back to turn number one. Flustercluck, though, not having much more luck at all. And Flustercluck seems a little bit out of it, skating about 30 feet farther than he had to re-enter.
Giggity takes a no pass, no penalty, looks back, sees Elton on, who knocked him out, step out of bounds himself, just carries on, he'd already got his point. As you say, Flustercluck just being held up, he's not being given any leeway by Sutton Impact and Matt Lovin, who are just taking turns, taking them off. Matt Lovin did pick up, Sutton Impact did pick up the clockwise block in that last hit. Shrooms now just taking a turn to take Flustercluck for a walk away from the pack.
Flustercluck continuing going to those dangerous areas, perhaps expecting a different result, but the same result happening over and over again. You might want to take a different approach against this very impressive English pack, and finally able to find a little bit of a gap, exploits it and gets through in his initial path, but Giggity already back around and scoring once again. And calls it off, and I believe he picked up all five. Yes, he had. So a 10-0 jam for England, continuing to roll as their lead now has moved to 99 points. Taking a look there at the replay of the action of turn one, and that is Flustercluck's pass, finally able to get through.
So we're going to see Blitzkrieg for England against Red for Canada. Tightly packed up against the jam line. Blitzkrieg muscling his way through, just got Walker to beat. Beaconek comes up to try and help Walker again, and Blitzkrieg through with lead.
Red able to get through on the inside. A nice little offensive move there from Team Canada, frees him. Red, the lone skater from Ottawa, our nation's capital, on Team Canada this year. But a nice little hop over the apex for Blitzkrieg. A quick little 2 points and done for England now. 101 points is the difference. 10 minutes here into the second half. Taking a look now at that replay.
It's a little apex hop of Blitzkrieg just before he called off the jam. Just jumping through the inside of Johnson.
Makes it look so easy.
So Bradas and Reaper now both went for a rolling start. Reaper takes Bradas off, but follows him off track himself.
Shrooms, though, dragging Bradas all the way back to turn four. Both defense locked in right now. Bradass, again, a nice job. He's so good at putting that one hand down to the outside and keeping himself in bounds. And it paid off there as Canada gets a much-needed lead jammer status.
Reaper just holds his feet after that hit from Tichborne. Breaks through the pack himself, but Bradass got through. One scoring pass, calls the jam.
Bradass looking for some love from the crowd and getting it. And let's take a look now. That hit on Reaper that dragged it back. And there was that nice handwork from Bradass, just putting that hand down and making sure the rest of his body did not go out of bounds. Did it a little bit there at turn 1, too. Great agility from the Canadian jammer.
So Sully and Elton prowling the back of the pack, looking for an escape route. Spectral and Kirkham just doing a good job holding Elton on. Elton muscling his way past Reanimated Gift, breaks out, full lead.
Second in a row now for Canada, looking to mount a bit of a comeback here. There is lots of time left on the clock, but as the lead widens, that time will become harder and harder to make up. And a track cut now going to the English jammer. Sully headed to the penalty box. Roller the Athletics Power Jam for Canada. I have a feeling, Savannah, that if they do want to mount a comeback, it's going to have to start now. Tenno approaching. Takes a hit, stays in bounds. Looks for Johnson to lead the offense through the pack. Spectral with a nice little hit to force Elton to the outside.
Some good work here from the Canadian blockers, just trying to open up the paths. They're trying to break up that strong cube defense that England have been demonstrating so well, and it's working. Just Shrooms for Elton to beat. No pack is called, so Shrooms is going to have to yield.
And you know, one of the Canadian strategies just seems to be to knock Spectral out of bounds so that he cannot get at that Canadian jammer. Elton now knocked to the inside.
Sully is back to track, just trying to force his way around Beganek and Johnson, and does so. He's out now on his initial pass. Elton just sees the opportunity to get through, call it.
Big jam for Canada, 15-0 on the run as they try and creep their way back into this one. 16 minutes to go. The Derby Shop, because roller derby saved your soul but wrecks all your gear. The Derby Shop is an online as well as a bricks and mortar shop in Amsterdam, the Netherlands. Or, of course, if you're not there, you can visit them online at thederbyshop.nl. It is known for the best advice and technical support when it comes to all your roller derby gear. And, of course, if you do ever happen to be in Amsterdam and visit, they will accept cookies.
And also just a quick shout out to Roller Derby Elite. Roller Derby Elite, level up.
All right, back underway here now as we near the midway point of this second half.
It's
red.
It's Giggity back to track for England.
And red 14 Canada. Neither jammer able to make much headway here, but it looks like Giggity is going to get the advantage, is able to slip by Sleeper Cell for lead jammer status for England. First in 3 jams.
Tom Banks there just went for that last-ditch effort to stop Red, but Red held his feet.
Nice little spin to the inside, looking for some extra points. Does manage to pick up 3. And let's take a look now at the replay.
So this is going to be that last-ditch effort from Tom Banks to save it. Great spin move from Red, just held his feet, managed to stay in bounds.
Nice agility there from the Canadian jammer. It's going to be Blitzkrieg and Bradass on the Nerd Roller Skates start line. 4-on-4 in the pack. Canada with that back position. Bradass waiting for his defensive set before he himself attacks that English wall. Was knocked out of bounds, carefully re-entered. Oh, and on his toe stop, stays in bounds.
Blitzkrieg looks like he's never actually going to use his wheels as he's going through the pack, as he's always on his toe stops.
But it works well for him, and it worked well for him there. He is the lead jammer as Beganek heads back to the penalty box for Canada. High block is being issued right now in the pack. We are waiting to see who it is for.
I think it's going to be Reanimated GIF.
Forearm also being called. Oh, and this is on Blitzkrieg. So power jam opportunity for Canada. Spectral also heading to the penalty box. It's only 2 on the track for England.
It's just Kirkham and Aisbett who are now being separated by, it looks like, Johnson and Walker.
2-on-2 as Bradass comes quickly. The England pack gets moving, or what's left of it. Bradass easily able to get through, split them apart. Grand Slam Canada.
Beganek comes back to track just to help that offensive blocking for Bradass, as well as Tank now coming back. So quickly shifts to 4-on-2 for Canada. Aisbett doing a good job of pushing Bradass to the inside.
Power jam is over. Blitzkrieg coming back onto the track just as Bradass gets through the front of it for another 5 points. Make that a 10-0 jam now for Team Canada. Blitzkrieg blitzing through that Canadian defense to complete his initial pass and force a call-off here, eventually from Bradass, who was a little slow to get up.
That was Reanimated Gift, just knocked him down and rolled back, just taking him with him.
And it looks like Canada's going to keep this jam going as well. Bradass, though, looking like he's getting a little winded.
Yeah, he's taking some devastating hits from Spectral and Reanimated Gift all the way through this jam.
Did give up that 4 spot, but Canada comes away with 12 of their own, so an 8-point advantage there now, 185 to 108. Still a substantial gap, though, for Canada to make up. Taking a look there at the replay.
So this is where we just had, he managed to hold his toe stop as Aisbett leaning into him.
Yeah, we've been talking about the line work from the Canadian jammers, and Bradass, or of the English jammers. Bradass of the Canadians is probably the best at it. Also, unbelievable re-entry ability as well.
Looks like we're in an official timeout here. The official timeouts are brought to you by Quad Skate Shop. When we talk about Quad Skate Shop, they want to tell you that because they love the game, Quad is Europe's original brick and mortar roller derby skate shop with the best selection and most stock on the continent. That's Europe. We know skates, so you don't have to. Our customer service is the best on a level that only fellow skaters could provide. Come see us online or in store for all your derby needs. Hashtag Quad Berlin.
You know, and I do think that if you had said the continent in that way with that definite article, I think most North Americans would have understood what you were referring to.
That's good. I wasn't sure.
Yeah. All right, when we do get things back underway here, it's going to be Reaper versus Eltonal, 2 tall jammers. Eltonal, a little bit more of a power jammer, though. Reaper likes to use the whole track and split defenses apart. 4-on-4 in the packs. We're starting about midway between the jammer line and the pivot line, and jam now is underway.
Reaper just tries to push Eltonon off track, but Eltonon holds his feet. Now just being led back behind Zimmer before starting his assault again. Using the full width of the track, Reaper just trying to find one area that the Canadian wall cannot cover.
And they just can't get him out of bounds, and Canada looking for the drag back, but ill-advised as they had not knocked him out of bounds, and instead they just split themselves apart, and that allowed Reaper to get through and pick up lead jammer status. Eltonal has taken off the star. He's got it stashed. Now able to make the pass to Sleeper Cell, and Sleeper Cell through, completing the initial pass for Canada.
And Reaper just sees Sleeper Cell with a star and shuts down the jam.
Sleeper Cell, a newbie to the national team, plays for Toronto Men's Roller Derby in Toronto. And let's take a look now at the replay. And that here it was, with that nice re-entry by Reaper, and Rev just a little late on the drag back, split up the defense, and that allowed Reaper through. That is that danger when you just pop back like that. You have to be sure about it, or else you're going to open up that space for the jammer to get through.
Yep, if it works, it's going to work big. If it fails, as you say, you're taking yourself out of that wall that was holding him until that point. Sully jamming against Flustercluck. Flustercluck at the back, just being rolled around by Kirkham. Sully's at the front, being held by Svensson, and it looks like Tank. It is Tank.
Flustercluck is the only Canadian jammer who has not been able to get one lead jammer status yet this game. Is through, though. Initial pass complete.
Sully took a big hit there, and it didn't seem to break his stride.
cut track now being called on Tank. He's going to join Svensson in the box. So 2 Canadian blockers in the penalty box. Flusterkluck knocked to the inside. Reanimated GIF dragging him back beyond the pivot line, and Flusterkluck once again a little slow to get back onto the track. Nice knockout and drag back by Johnson, who had to leap out of the way of the English blockers, and Walker is going to extend it. Flusterkluck likes to come in a little bit behind to try and build up a little bit of momentum. Svensson now back on the track. His penalty is over. So is Tanks, so Canada's pack now bolstered.
Reanimated GIF was allowed to knock Flusterkluck off the track and then just take him all the way back to that rear engagement zone. Sully, in the meantime, just rolls off a hit from Svensson and holds his footing from avoiding the hit from Tank.
And a low block being called on that exit hit to Flusterkluck. But again, a little bit slow to re-enter and goes right back to another danger area and gets knocked right back out of bounds.
That was Kirkham that picked up the low block for England. Once more, we're seeing that duo, Reanimated GIF and Spectral. You can see them there just congratulating each other on a job well done, shutting down the jammer time and time again.
Yeah, great work there, a 16-4 jam. Taking now a look at a replay here. Just again, that excellent toe stop work from Sully. And just staying up on the 1 foot and spinning around at just the last moment to stay in bounds.
Whew. Once again, this action is being brought to you here on the Nerd roller skate track in Calgary in the Acadia Recreation Centre. Semi-final action. The winner of this game will progress to the Cup final.
England looking to advance to their 2nd consecutive Cup final. To try and give another go at it, at winning it. Of course, losing to USA in 2014. USA still to come. They will be facing off against Australia in the semi-final. So 3 of the Final Four teams from the 2014 Men's Roller Derby World Cup back in the Final Four here. Australia, the newcomers, jumping in ahead of France. France will be looking to skate for 5th place. They finished 4th at the first Roller Derby World Cup.
So Righteous Oxide is just having a bit of a chat with both bench managers right now. If only we could be a fly on the wall in that conversation, we'd love to tell you what it's all about.
All right. Management heading back to their respective benches. Righteous Oxide calling for play to resume. Bradass versus Alienau on the Nerd roller skates start line. 4-on-3 pack advantage for Canada. They've got a skater starting within it's Tichborne starting within the England pack, looking to work some offense immediately.
We saw him do this earlier, just try and get in amongst the England defense and break them up. Not successful this time as Bradass once again shut out and Alienau through for lead.
Bradass working that line nicely though, able to get out, complete his initial pass, and that will force a quick call off. No points on the board. Oh, 2 points on the board for England, none for Canada. So England just, sure happy to chip away at things here. A 2-0 jam with about a minute on the clock taken off will be a perfect jam for them at this point as the clock is on their side.
Still keeping that kind of 90 to 100 points of insurance, keeping Canada at bay, but still 7.5 minutes. We've seen some big 29, 30, 35 point jams already by these teams, and we've seen the momentum shift at the end of the first period that Canada brought. So anything could change in this game. Let's not rule Canada out right now.
But as the time goes by, it's going to become harder and harder to make it. And another penalty to Team Canada. Track cut to El Tenon. Roller Derby Athletics power jam for England. And this will be a critical moment for Canada. Walker able to get around the English blockers to draw the jammer all the way back Blitzkrieg to turn number 1.
Giggity picked up the clockwise block in that melee and we'll go to our penalty box. Blitzkrieg just being rolled around the outside by Beganek. Tank is drawing them back into the middle of the pack.
Canada defense doing a nice job here on the penalty kill. Eltonant is already standing in the box, and Blitzkrieg has not been able to get through here to complete a scoring pass yet.
Beganek sent off for the back block, which will help his chances. Just Tank at the front, just rolls him off onto 1 foot on the out of bounds. As we get Eltonant back, Star Stash through the pack.
Now Eltonant round quickly and ready to pick up some points for Team Canada. As Blitzkrieg still having a hard time against this Canada defense. Tank, Johnson, Walker all getting involved in it. Blitzkrieg now finally named lead jammer. And Tank right there and waiting for him to stand up and engaging in that one-on-one battle at the front stretch.
Blitzkrieg looks quite exhausted now.
It took him 1 minute and 40 seconds to complete his initial pass. Just to give you a sense of the kind of pack work we've seen at times in this game. Eltonant now pushed to the outside by Spectral. Blitzkrieg once again taken down by a big hit from Walker. And that will end the jam, and Blitzkrieg being helped up by the Canada pack. Monumental effort there, and Eltonant looking for his points, and he will get all 5 points on that. So 2:08 now to 1:17. 5 minutes to go here. Canada running out of time on the clock. At the very least, the host nation will be able to compete for the same spot that they held at the 2014 World Cup. And Coach Lime, now with 5 minutes to go, is going to use his official review. And we will, of course, get an update for you as soon as we possibly can. But in the meantime, let's take this opportunity once again to thank our sponsors. If you've not yet discovered the awesomeness that is Sisu, you must invest in one. These ultra-thin, super strong mouth guards allow you to talk, breathe, and drink, and they look great in photos. Get yours if you're coming down to track 1 here for the Championship Sunday. You can get one here at Nerd Roller Skates. If not, you'll have to go to sisu.com and pick up one there.
Or your nearest local roller derby shop that sells Sisu. Sisu, of course, are sponsoring our track 2 here.
And also our studio as well for our studio interviews all throughout the 2016 Men's Roller Derby World Cup. Looks like we've got an attempted wave going on in the venue being led by Team Canada's Eltonant. So the Canadian spirit's still high on the bench despite the gap that they have here on the score. Now Eltonant's going to follow the wave around the track. Red getting involved in it as well. Great spirit, you know, all weekend here. This has been an ultra-competitive tournament, but there never has been has been a moment when an opposing skater has not reached down to help a skater get picked up off the track from an opposing team. So despite the high level of intense competition we've seen, that sportsmanship has, I've never seen it waned. I haven't seen it wane for a moment yet this tournament.
No, I mean, even when we had, you know, games where they were tied, games neck and neck, every jam you'd see the jammers going up, giving each other a lot of love before the jam starts, high fives, handshakes. And you know, when the whistle goes, they're going to be dead rivals, and as soon as that jam ends, they'll be back to celebrating each other, congratulating each other. You see the blockers do it all the time with the big hits. You know, you get one of the blockers gets floored and they'll get up smiling and know that they appreciate the big hit, but because they know they're going to put that back on that guy later on in the game.
And they will undoubtedly get the same sort of appreciation from their opponents.
Reviews. The first we're going to deal with is Canada. Team Black are requesting a back block call on the white jammer. I'll come back to you about the white official review in a moment.
Oh, so you hear that? 2 official reviews being called here. So both teams attempting to use their official review successfully.
We've been handed a fun fact here. The wave was invented in Oakland, California.
All right, in the Bay Area. Thank you for the wave. Of course, become a very integral part of sporting events all over the world. Yeah, you know what? We were talking about the great spirit that we see here on the tracks at the Men's Roller Derby World Cup, and the sport is still so young. There's something we like to call derby time that makes it seem like we've been doing this forever, but the sport, really, flat track roller derby, is only about 13 years old. So we are still at a point where we're growing the game, and these events have a much more important meaning beyond just the results on the track at this point. This is teaching the game to a global audience and really defining what this game is going to look like for the future to in the future.
7, 4, 8. You can pick up your winnings from the front desk. I can't read the handwriting, but the amount is that 56.
All right, so the referee still talking to the two bench coaches, giving the explanations for the official reviews.
Yeah, just come back to what you were saying there. I mean, we saw the juniors yesterday. I think it was yesterday. It seems like this tournament's been going on forever.
Let's hold that thought for just one moment, Sven.
Results of Team Black's official review is that no back block call will be made. Official review is not upheld. Official review, therefore, not retained. Team White have requested an official review about the apex jump that was attempted on corners 3 and 4, claiming a cut track call was made. Should have been made. We'll get back to you on the outcome of that in a moment.
All right, thank you very much for that clear explanation. Righteous Oxide.
Yeah, so as I was saying, so yeah, I mean, we saw the juniors game, and if we can start imbuing the juniors coming up through the sport now with that sense of sportsmanship, you know, hard competitiveness but good sportsmanship, we will grow the sport, and the sport will prosper because of that. There's so many professional sports now where they're now having to put in place these rules now after hundreds of years of rules, or 100 years of gameplay, because of the effect that they're having on the youth. You know, these players who get paid millions of dollars, millions of pounds, seen as role models, and that's obviously affecting their youth. By bringing the sportsmanship into the junior roller derby as well, and we know with the JRD rule set, you know, there's all the crowd conduct as well that goes with that. It's helping to grow the sport the right way from the very start.
Yep, absolutely. Creating a positive culture around a sporting event has been a hallmark of Flat Track Roller Derby since it was reborn in Austin, Texas in 2003. And now Righteous Oxide is looking to explain to the benches his decision on the second of our two official reviews about the potential track cut on a Canadian jammer. So we will get that explanation for you as soon as we possibly can. And it's been remarkable to me, too, how quickly this sport has grown. The first ever Flat Track World Cup was held in 2011. Here we are in 2006, just 5 years later, and we are in our second global event. Now, Righteous Oxide with the explanation of the second official review.
Hello again. Review will not be upheld. No cut call will be made on the jammer. The apex jump was completed successfully. The skater then, believing they had not completed it, removed himself from track. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thanks very much.
So there you have it. No penalty being called either way on that one. So we're just going to go right back to where we left off 6 minutes and 45 seconds ago with Red on the Nerd Roller Skate start line up against Reaper for England. 4 on 4 in the pack. No, 4-3 pack advantage for England. One Canadian defender in the pack.
More importantly, that 7 minutes of 2 reviews gives all the players a good chance to get some breathing space, which is much needed at this stage in the game.
And this stage of the tournament as well. Red now with a little bit of a head start, and he is able to get some separation between those blockers when an attempted apex jump by Reaper did fail. He is forced to reset, gives Red another opportunity to try and make his way through this England pack, but he takes a big hit there from Matt Lovin and dragged back to turn number 2. Now Reaper at the front, pushing against a 4 wall of Canadians.
We go back to these tests of strength where it's 1 versus 4, just pushing, trying to push forward.
We saw one full 2-minute jam without a lead jammer in the first half. That's not going to happen here as Red has been named lead jammer. Hips did pass the foremost blocker, but unfortunately he was swallowed back up into the pack, and now he's going to be forced to reset at turn number 3.
Reaper is still being held behind the Rev. And that 4 wall, well, the cube of Canada just managing to roll back and forward, making themselves very wide. Reaper not finding any way through.
And both defenses just locked in right now. England feeling comfortable with their wall, sending an offensive skater back. So Canada doing the same with Zimmer trying to work up. Both Pats now being split apart. Oh, unfortunately, Reaper running into Sutton Impact. Closes up that gap, and now he takes a hit from the Rev, a direction of gameplay or a back block penalty on him. But that was enough to get Red through as lead jammer.
Reaper now out of the pack, half a lap behind Red. Starts his first scoring pass. Matt Lovin, who's been the bane of Red in this entire jam, once again knocks him to the outside. Gets the cut track. Sorry, forces the call off. I was just looking at there. Was that a high block that came in at the end? It looks like on Zimmer.
Right, and they're taking a look at the replay. Big hits all around. A nice move from Red, drawing Tom Banks to the inside and then popping out the nice simple little juke to get through and get those points on the board for Canada. 2.5 minutes now to go in this semi-final showdown. 2:08-121, England in control.
Sully back jamming, picks up lead quickly and efficiently. Bradas once again being held up there behind Giggity and Reanimated GIF. Giggity taking him back.
And now back on the track is Rev, and he tried to just go right through that England pack, but they were able to reform very quickly after he passed. So Rev instead turns to defense, knocks out Sully, drags him back.
Giggity with a clockwise block call, trying to keep Bradas locked in, but fell backwards, knocked him off. High block to Bradas, which is going to give Sully the Roller Derby Athletics power jam.
And England now just looking to close out this game and make their second consecutive appearance in the Men's Roller Derby World Cup Championship game. And they are closing it out with style here. Playing this power jam perfectly, now looking for the sweep from the outside. Worked like clockwork, but a nice adjustment there from Zimmer. He was ready for it, stayed ahead of the defense. Not that time though, as the outside lane was open and Sully goes through for 5 more. Bradas back on the track, and again with some nice agility, and that's going to draw a misconduct call for hitting a skater while he was down. Bradas through. Another scoring pass though for Sully as well, and a back block call as Bradas entered that pack just a little bit too hot, and that was his 4th penalty of the game.
So this jam will expire in a couple of seconds, giving England...
And I believe that is going to be the final jam of the game. Yes, it is. Not enough time to get another jam started.
There are timeouts.
Yep. So unless Lime decides to call a timeout, he does so. So Canada wants one more crack at it here, perhaps not wanting to go out like that.
It's also one more for the fans who have packed this place out, been cheering every move that Canada have made, every time they've picked up lead, every point they've scored. When you're hosting it, give the fans some extra action.
Yeah, no, absolutely right. The fans for Team Canada have been great. They packed this venue at 9 a.m. this morning. They came back here at 5 p.m. to pack it again many hours later. Bradas, though, in the penalty box, and I think Lime, again, as you said, Sven, they did not want to leave the Canadian fans with their last image of Team Canada having their jammer in the penalty box here in this game.
We're going to be starting 3-on-3 in the pack. Tom Banks, Sutton, Impact, Shrooms lining up for England. Looks like Stand Aside, Tichborne, and Sleeper Cell for Canada. Tichborne and Tom Banks doing pivot line toe stop start, just stretching the pack back from the pivot line a bit.
So we are now up to 2 minutes away from England booking their ticket to the World Cup final. Final jam of this semi-final game underway.
Alienal jamming for England, tries the outside. Tom Banks trying to open up a gap in the center of the Canadian wall. stand aside, beats him, gets Tichborne in his face, manages to roll around Tichborne, who picks up a penalty, as does stand aside. So just sleeper cell on track until Zimmer comes back to join him now.
Bradas out of the penalty box, back in the track.
England have done it. Second time they will be going through to the final of the men's roller derby World Cup. Final score 236 to 123 unofficial.
What an impressive performance from Team England here today. They faced a heavily Canadian favorite crowd in the opening moments of this game. It was a ferocious attack from Canada right off of that opening whistle, but England just withheld that storm, locked things down, really won the game, I think, in that middle 10 minutes of that opening half when they held Canada scoreless for 8 jams.
Yeah, I mean, they got the momentum shift. They pushed it. They made sure they capitalized on that. And I think just shutting out Canada for so many jams in a row and getting that daylight in between the score made it a mountain to climb for Canada. Not an impossible mountain, but unfortunately England never let Canada get back into the game, never let them and the crowd here affect them and take that momentum back, which is, as we know, super important in roller derby. Getting the momentum shift, getting things going your way, being able to control the pack. I think Canada had quite a lot of blocker penalty trouble. That didn't help them when they were trying to hold up England's jammers. And at the same time, England's defense was just watertight. A lot of the time, they had the right lineups, able to hold up world-class jammers like Bradas and Flustercliff time and time again, shutout after shutout.
Yeah, Flustercliff was never able to pick up a lead jammer status in this game. That is a remarkable statistic when you think about some of the success that he has had throughout this tournament. So yeah, it's just a really strong, mature performance from Team England as they have now booked their ticket into the World Cup Championship. I don't know about you, Sven, but I need myself a little bit of a break here and to catch a little bit of a breather. Coming up here on the Nerd Skates track, we will have the second semifinal between Team USA and Australia in about 13 minutes time, so don't go away too far. Big thanks to Devil's Reject, our producer for this game. For Sven, will I be famous? I am the Derby Nerd. Thank you for tuning in and continue to do so here at the 2016 Men's Roller Derby World Cup.
Good afternoon and welcome back to the Men's Roller Derby World Cup live from Calgary, Canada. My name's Panda.
Hey, and I'm Bob Noxious.
Well, we've just had 2 incredible games over on tracks 1 and track 2. Luckily for us, finishing simultaneously, pretty much.
That's right. We're not seeing double this time.
Over on track 1, we had Team England taking on Team Canada. Team England taking the win, 236 to 123. Over on track 2, we had Team Finland versus Team France. Team France taking the win, 265, playing Finland's 85. So we know what we're going to be looking at for half of our games tomorrow, who the competitors are going to be. We're going to get the bracket information up on the screen and talk you through some of that.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll tell you, England really playing incredibly well. I thought this game would be closer. I think England, in my mind, was probably the team that had performed a little bit better during the opening rounds of the tournament. But such a convincing win. And then as we take a look at the other side of the bracket, I'll admit I just didn't think Finland had quite enough to be able to.
They had a strong start though, but
yeah,
it's gone for about 15 minutes in the first period, but then they just, I think due to a few penalties, they just lost a bit of momentum and France just whipped the advantage up
and the thing is that France has just been an absolute monster out there all weekend. And with the point differentials they put up against a lot of good teams, it was going to be a hard fight.
So the bracket that you can see on your screen right now is the championship bracket. So we start on the left-hand side and you can see the games that we had right away this morning. Team Canada taking the win against Team France, 206 to 169. Team England taking the win over Team Finland, 378 to 60. And then Team England and Team Canada advancing to the game that we've just seen over here on track 1. We started on track 1 at 11 o'clock with USA Argentina. USA taking the win at 490 to Argentina's 45. Team Australia and Team Wales over on track 2. Australia taking the win over Wales with 359 to 96. The next game that we're going to see over on track 2 is going to be the Argentina-Wales game, but you can also see at the top there that over on track 1 we're going to have USA-Australia. That's going to be huge.
Yeah, absolutely. You know what? It's really hard to say, but based on the performance of both of those teams, I don't know that you can say USA is a lock, and I wouldn't bet the total farm on that.
So we already know that Team England are going to be playing for the trophy for the Men's Roller Derby World Cup. And if it is that we see the Team USA go through again like we did in 2014, it's pretty much going to be the same kind of matchup.
Yeah, it's going to be exactly the same thing.
Okay, so just toward the bottom, you can see that we've got a couple of different games on there. We've got Finland and France that we had just over on track 2. France taking the win 265 over Finland 85, taking Team France through to play for 5th place tomorrow at 3 p.m. on track 1. Team Argentina and Team Wales yet to play, so we don't know who's going to be taking on Team France yet. But at 7:15 over on track 2, we're going to start that game. We already know 3rd place is going to be Canada versus somebody.
Yep.
So it's all to play for. We've got 7th place game at 3:15 tomorrow. That's going to be Team Finland versus the loser of the 51st game so far. Hopefully we'll have the bracket up for the consolation games as well, and we can give you a bit of information about them, because we've talked a lot about the championships. We haven't really gotten through this like for an awful lot of it. Let's start on the left-hand side, going down to Japan and Netherlands, what we saw this afternoon. 304 Japan to Netherlands 138. That was a crazy impressive game.
I'll tell you, there's probably not been a more emotional moment in this World Cup, and we've seen a lot of emotional moments between Birmingham and here, but Japan was just, Bubble turned to me and all he could say was, finally. He says it's taken us 4 years of work to get to this point. And they were all emotional, and I'll tell you, the Netherlands did nothing but hug them as hard as they could and congratulate them.
So that's going to be the Team Japan game versus Team Chile is going to be our first game on track 1 tomorrow. Chile taking the win with 247 over Team Spain, which was 116.
And I tell you, that's going to be a good game.
Yeah, we're going to kick the day off with that one. Over on track 2 tomorrow morning, we're going to see Team Netherlands versus Team Spain. That came out of the games that we had from the earlier on today. On the other side, on the right-hand side of the page, you can see that we've got the 9 and the 9:15 games over there as well from this morning. So we had Team Ireland taking on Team Puerto Rico. Team Ireland taking the win with 230 points over Puerto Rico's 95. Puerto Rico put up a good fight with Team Ireland.
Yeah,
they really did.
absolutely.
It was impressive. The 9:15 game that we had over on track 2, we had Team Germany winning that with 202 points versus Team Italy's 154. The most points that Team Italy has put on the board so far, and they played their hearts out as well.
And the best game that Germany's put together the entire tournament.
Absolutely. So that takes Team Germany over to track 1 to play Team Ireland tomorrow morning. And we've still got Team Belgium, Team Sweden to play out, Team Netherlands, Team Spain, Team Scotland, Team Mexico, Team Puerto Rico, Team Italy, and we've also mentioned Team Japan, Team Chile, just doing the derby direction way around the bracket there.
Yep, absolutely. The one team I just want to stop and just say, I tell you, I talk about the guys that have a lot of heart, and that is Team Spain. They come here with a really small roster, about 10 guys rostered, and I know they struggled in their last game, even though it was close to start with, because they were down to just about 3 players at the end.
So that game was quite pivotal for Team Spain. We had 9 foul outs.
Yep.
And for the last 6 minutes of the game, they only had 3 skaters on track.
Yep.
That's insane. Have you ever seen that? I spoke to Dr. Stevel after the game, and he told me there was 124 penalties to deal with in that game. That is just incredible. So they kept the NSOs incredibly busy during that game. 124 penalties. I don't think I'm ever going to see that in a game again.
Let's hope not.
No.
Yeah.
So yeah, Team Spain didn't seem to have many skaters on the track at the end of that, but the ones that were still there, they were fighting incredibly hard.
Yeah. Actually quite impressive for their first time into the tournament.
Absolutely. Okay, so we will be heading over to both of our tracks again soon for the final games of today, starting with Team USA, Team Australia on track 1. Like you said before, it's tough to call. I think I would quite like Team Australia to win that because I want to see a different matchup in the final.
Well, I think everybody just, when it comes down to sports, everybody loves the underdog.
Yeah.
And so I imagine there's a lot of people out there thinking the same thing.
Team over on track 2, teams Argentina and Wales playing.
I think that's going to be Wales' game. I think Wales has been more consistent, as hard as that is for me to say. Love the guys from Argentina, but I don't know. It's if they play up to their capability, which they did against Italy yesterday, it's going to be really close. But their jammer fouls have been crazy ridiculous, and they've given up seriously 6 to 10 power jams probably every game. And they just can't continue to do that. Wales is too good for that.
Mm-hmm. So we know tomorrow we're going to have Team Finland playing for 7th place, Team France playing for 5th place, Team Canada playing for 3rd place, and then England in the final. And the other games that we have here will determine who they're going to be playing. So stick around because we've got 2 more games.
And we are going to come back and we will let you know how that bracket fills out before we go home.
Absolutely.
And fall asleep really fast.
Please do get in touch with us using the hashtag MRDWC. Get in touch via Twitter. The guys on the house feed are reading out the tweets, so you can get in on that. If you want to look at any live updates or have a look over any of the documents that we've seen on the screen today, please go to mrdwc.com. Give us a shout out. Let us know what it is where you are, what you're doing, what time it is where you are. Thank you everybody for staying up ridiculously late wherever you are in the world.
Exactly.
Or getting up ridiculously early. We are here in mountain time over here in Calgary. We know we're 7 hours behind the UK, and many more behind everywhere else in Europe that people are staying up and watching this.
But the good news is when you do go to bed, it's 9 o'clock again tomorrow morning. Mountain time.
Yeah, absolutely. Don't forget to make sure that you check the time difference wherever you are. Use the hashtag MRDWC to get in touch with us. Updates and information from mrdwc.com. My name is Panda.
And I'm Bob, as far as I know.
We really miss the feeling of spontaneously visiting a store and trying out the newest gear. Hang out for all roller skaters. Everyone has their own unique style. Because of our large assortment, we can now personalise roller skates while you wait, so you can try them out right away. Our mission is to fit you in the right gear, and don't forget to turn left.
Hip whip, don't trip, slap the pack. If you block the flock, then I can jam the track. Quads on the floor, stars on the head. Roller to be locked, what the zebra said. Yeah, we rollin', yeah, we rapping for real. Can't feel the back wheels underneath my heels. Up through my spine, penetrating the heart. Calling up the jam till the next jam starts.